Now it's time for today's perspective. My guest on the programme today is one of those people who've done so much in their life. He's travelled the world as an investment banker. He's farmed vineyards and an olive orchard in Northern California. He's founded a non-profit organisation, Caravan to Class, to expand education for young people in Western Africa. He's also, though, experienced extreme grief when his beloved wife Jackie was killed in an accident in Botswana. But in the aftermath of that tragedy, Barry decided, well, he literally wanted to feel the pulse of the world again, as he puts it. So he dreamt up an audacious mission to visit all 193 countries on Earth. It's all recounted in his book, Belonging to the World, a journey for grief through connection in every country on Earth. And Barry Hoffner joins us now on the programme. Thanks very much for joining us on the programme. Great to have you with us. Let's start with the hard bit, if we can, the death of your wife, Jackie. I mean, it left a terrible hole in your heart and indeed in the hearts of your sons as well.
Yeah, first, thanks for having me here. It was right at the start of our empty nesting years with our boys going off to college, and we were doing our first real trip together in those empty nesting years. My wife was going to Southern Africa, and I was going to meet her. I landed in Dubai to receive that shattering phone call that she had been killed by an elephant in Botswana. She actually worked with wild animals in a conservation job for an NGO. And yeah, that shattered my life.
It must have been a very difficult period, but how long was it before you started to think about how you could come out of that?
Yeah, I stepped out of my life for a while. I moved away from home to where my son was in college. He moved in with me in Georgetown in Washington, D.C. And I needed to get my head together, really. I needed a period to understand this tragedy that had been befallen me. After a period of time, I decided I needed to re-enter life. That was about 6 months. And I did that by just going to Tajikistan in Central Asia to run a half marathon. After that trip, I really had kind of a shift from just, terrible grief to the idea that there is still something left in life.
And where did the idea come from then to continue that traveling?
So it's the kind of thing where, like, if you do something and it works, you keep doing it. With my kids both away in college, I just started taking more trips. And as I was taking trips, I realized that not only was I seeing amazing sights, but I felt I was really connecting with people. And that connection, I found healing. And so my travels led me all the way up until COVID, where I got grounded for a while with my sons back at home. First time back in an empty house here in Northern California. I met a young man who had been to every country in the world. I didn't even know that was a thing. Kind of a light bulb moment went off in my head and said, that's something I have to do.
But how did you go about actually doing it? I mean, it's all very well to think, oh, I'll just go to every country in the world. But I mean, it's logistically, it must be very difficult. I mean, did you do it in parts or from one country to another in a continuous loop, as it were?
Yeah, so I decided I was going to give myself a period of 3 years. I hadn't realized it yet, but I had already been to over 100 countries. I had lived and traveled all over the world. I'd lived for 16 years overseas. In fact, my first work period was in Paris in 1987, so I just charted that idea of going to basically 71 new countries in a period of 3 years, and I started off with a few in Africa, and then just kept continuing. I came back home to California every 3 weeks or so because I had an elderly mother that I wanted to see. But I just found over time the logistics got a little easier, the trips a little bit less rougher, and the awe that I was seeing just propelled me forward.
And are there any particular trips which really stand out in your memory? I mean, what are the prime locations and the places which have made most of an impact, I suppose, on you?
Yeah, for me, it was I was traveling around and seeing just some amazing landscapes in Saudi Arabia, in Mongolia, in Bhutan. But really, it was the people-to-people connection that I found most healing. And that happened to be in places where in the media you see headlines of danger. And it just so happens some of those countries were my most fulfilling. Syria is a perfect example. I was there in 2023 for my 63rd birthday in Damascus. And though I saw buildings being destroyed all around me, I really found people incredibly hospitable. The food amazing, the sights really some of the best sights I've seen all over the Middle East. And it was those connections with those people in countries like that that really hadn't seen tourists in so long that I found very, very fulfilling.
Yeah, I can see some of these images, obviously, people very much a focus in some of the photographs that we're showing. Tell us about the book then. What does the book give to its readers, would you say?
Well, when I decided to write the book, it was about a year into my travels to every country. I had come back from a trip to Afghanistan only about a year after the Taliban took over. And though I should have been kind of objectively scared about that trip, I just found it so exciting. And I found that I was learning things and I was feeling alive again. And I decided that there was a book here, not just about travel, but about the healing nature of connecting with people all around the world. And the more I traveled, the more I found that. And so that's what the book is about. It's about love, loss, and then healing through meeting people around the world, just person to person encounters that are different that show you a different side to a place that we generally see in the headlines a lot of times in a negative light.
Yeah, the tagline for the book, isn't it, is some journeys we choose, others choose us. I mean, would you say it was very much kind of destiny and what happened to you that sent you on these trips?
I mean, definitely, it's kind of sad to say that, I have this loss, which I'll always have to live with. On the other hand, that sparked an incredible journey to places that I would have never gone if I didn't have that time and that objective sort of decision to try to go to every single country. So that's really at the heart of this book, the idea that grief loss can break us, but then if we have the courage to move forward, we find something special on the other side. And I did in traveling to every country.
And finally, I mean, you've done it now, haven't you? When you've been to every country in the world, what on earth is there left to do?
Well, I still have work for my foundation. We have a scholarship program in my wife's name called Bourse Jackie, where we provide scholarships to women in West African countries, both in university and English language. That's very dear to my heart. And that's why 100% of the proceeds from this book go to additional scholarships for women from West Africa, where there's so much incredible talent and just underutilized people resources.
Good to talk to you on the programme. Thanks very much for joining us, Barry Hoffner. The book is called Belonging to the World, a journey for grief to connection in every country on earth. And if you want to find out more about the charity there that Barry was talking about, you'll find it, of course, online as well. Barry Hoffner there joining us from San Francisco.